Yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed.
This one's wife. Told you so. Instagram is her undoing. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. In January, this one's wife started posting on Instagram. In February, I explained in a video why her use of Instagram would prove to be ultimately her undoing. That for all of the rumours and the allegations, the narcissist cannot help where lesser or mid-range to drop themselves in it. As I have explained on so many occasions, give the narcissist enough rope and they'll hang themselves. And with the twerking pregnancy video that this one's wife has released, it is perhaps one of the most spectacular own goals that has ever been witnessed with regard to self-sabotage. Countless individuals have stated that where they might have had some doubt as to whether she was actually pregnant or not, this has pushed them firmly over the line to believe that she was never pregnant. Whilst there are those that support her, who continue maintain that she was pregnant and this was a sweet video and she was just having fun, there are plenty of people who have expressed their absolute horror at the behaviour, the ridicule of what she's been doing, the ridiculousness of releasing this 4 years after the birth, but primarily it has convinced those that believe that she was never pregnant that that is absolutely the case. And it has caused many people who were still in two minds about it to now believe, no, this demonstrates she was not pregnant, and amounts to an incredible own goal on the part of this one's wife. Nobody else posted this video. It wasn't an AI creation pumped out by someone who'd be labelled as a conspiracy theorist. It isn't being done cleverly with lookalikes. Even though we can't really see much of Harry, that's clearly this one's wife in the video. She filmed this video, she kept hold of this video, and then she released this video. Throughout her use of Instagram, we have seen the false duck parade, the ridiculous photograph which purportedly showed the children running to greet her and Harry, which had so many things wrong with it. The waffle creation, which demonstrated that the waffles that she showed didn't match the waffles maker that she was using. The creation of bagels and cream cheese on Valentine's Day. Attending the bees with Lily. Dripping the honey in the kitchen. A variety of different glimpses repeatedly throughout Instagram, both in videos and posts, whereby they appear to change hair colour, hair type, change in terms of size. The clean vegetables that she parades as if she's pulled them from her garden. The fact that she claims that it is a daily ritual to be barefoot and then is seen wearing Wellington boots. That she produces vegetables that she claims she's pulled from her garden, that she's harvested from there when they are harvested at different times. Pictures showing Archie looking out to sea on his own, which caused people to question, was it a legitimate picture? Lilibet on a boat with no life jacket. And those are just some of the many, many examples where again and again this one's wife has gone to Instagram driven by the irresistible urge of her narcissism to cause her to assert control over the audience, to draw fuel from people's responses, to seek amplification of that fuel by way of coverage of what she posts, the management of her facade, and the seeking of residual benefits. Her narcissism utilizes Instagram as the go-to medium for the purposes of the pursuit of the prime aims. And because she always operates in the moment, she doesn't join the dots, she doesn't maintain consistency. Over and over and over, you have seen the hypocrisies, the mistakes, the questionable behaviors culminating in this pregnancy video. I thought it would be useful not only to highlight "I told you so" that this would happen, but also to give you a chance to watch again my video from February so that you can compare what I said back then with what you have witnessed in the last 4 or 5 months. A useful reminder of what I stated back then, and look at it with the benefit of what you have witnessed these last few months, all culminating in the conclusion that this one's wife is now being undone by her own hand through Instagram. I'm HG Tudor. Please watch this next video by way of a reminder. This one's wife. Why Insta will be her undoing. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Many years ago, I identified that this one's wife was a narcissist. I did so as a consequence of my own interactions and the evidence that was out there. And in time, I shared that information, providing it across my blog and then through videos. And because she's a popular topic and such an excellent example of narcissism in action and the effect that she has upon victims, she has proven a considerable source of material thereafter. With regard to her behaviour, what she does, I'm able to interpret that for you through the prism of her narcissism. We have seen instances where her facade has fractured, more than compared to many narcissists, for 2 reasons. The first, she's overexposed, she's photographed and filmed on a regular basis, and this appears across the world media, both mainstream and social, on a daily basis. Furthermore, as a mid-range narcissist, her narcissism, as I've explained before, managed to get her into the rarefied position that she's found herself, but it struggles to keep her there by maintaining the facade at all times. The numerous threats to control that she has as a consequence of the elevation to an infamous individual means that her facade management is basically being asked to work overtime, and it struggles. She's steered by PR people the best that they can to keep her away from certain disasters. On the whole, we've seen plenty instances of poor behaviour, more than you ordinarily would do for many narcissists, because, as I say, her narcissism isn't up to the job of dealing with someone who is so well known, and she has become overexposed, so it means that there's plenty of material there. Add in the fact that there's lots of people watching to see when she makes these mistakes, so they get highlighted, commented upon and publicised. We've also seen instances of where her knee-jerk instinctive narcissism causes problems, for instance, with the manifestation of the death stare. However, experts such as myself see this, and you then have the benefit of understanding what it is. But many people don't. They may not even see it, and when they do, they won't recognise what it means. So she, in effect, gets away with it to many people. We have seen instances of an individual that goes by the handle guest speaker, reacting in a manner which shows heated, ignited fury in the below-the-line section of the New York Post. That individual is rumoured to be this one's wife, and certainly the manner of the responses supports that could be the case. However, because a pseudonym is used, nobody knows for certain. And if you were to try and point that out to a neutral individual, they would say, well, why would she be commenting below the line? Isn't she too busy to be doing things like that? Or, well, it could be her, but you can't say for certain. So again, seasoned observers recognise that it's likely to be her, but many other people don't, meaning she gets away with it again. With the PR puff pieces, we've seen that these are often utilised as a means of clapping back, or in my terminology, nullifying the threat to control that has arisen as a consequence of something having taken place, whether it's criticism of something that she has done or praise for instance, the Princess of Wales. It doesn't take long before something appears in a PR puff piece. These are invariably instigated by this one's wife. Again, it doesn't show her true colours because there is a degree of plausible deniability, prove that it's her that's generated it. It is, to all likelihood and on the balance of probabilities, her, but again, express that to a neutral observer and they'll say, well, they're just publications that are supportive of her. You don't know for certain that she's issued a press release to them or instructed them to do it. We know that that is the case because we know that that's the way that this one's wife operates, and we also know because of her narcissism she has that burning need to nullify that threat to control. Accordingly, although there are lots of instances where we see her narcissism in action, and we know that because we know what she is, if you think about the position from a neutral observer, they are far less likely to be convinced because there's a degree of plausible deniability in relation to all of this. It's not done in her name, it's done through a conduit. You might not notice it and might not understand what it actually signifies. Therefore, many instances of her narcissism in action that I highlight for you and interpret for you and that you understand is her being a narcissist, other people essentially don't get or won't accept that it's necessarily her. This is naturally advantageous to this one's wife. Once you understand what she is and start to see the behaviours, it all makes sense. But as I'm sure many of you have found, that you may have experienced a degree of frustration with people who just don't seem to get it. You may well have argued with them on X or other places, trying to get them to see the evidence. But because of this aspect of doubt and plausible deniability, combined perhaps with their own prejudices by way of their support of this one's wife, they don't take it on board. Certainly her supporters are too entrenched in their position to see what's being explained to them. But even a neutral person who doesn't understand narcissism would look at what you're explaining to them and wouldn't necessarily get it. This is likely to now change and will escalate the problems that she experiences and lead to more people realizing that, as they might see it, there's a screw loose, as we all know that it's her narcissism in action. Since her return to Instagram, what have we witnessed? We have seen the ridiculous behaviour on the beach, performative, behaving like a giggling 12-year-old. We've had the dead dog story, which appears to have been dug up, not literally, from months ago and then paraded as a pity play. We've had the instance of her behaviours with the preposterous trailer for her new cookery show. She has posted the Billie Eilish affair, which, of course, many people questioned, ridiculed her in relation to, for instance, that she looked high, that it seemed like it might be a made-up story, that people said, well, why don't you just do this quietly? Why do you need to publicise it? There's also what she published in relation to the Invictus Games, where originally it was reels showing her and the wheelchair incident and so forth, which again was criticised, which she had then taken down and had replaced with something which is more of just an official Invictus Games video. And then on Valentine's Day, we saw the picture of her and Harry kissing, although it didn't look particularly natural, which was done as a consequence of the picture that was put up by the Waleses. We've seen in her stories the strawberry fool as she cuts the strawberries, which again results in her triangulating with the children. Accordingly, we're in mid-February. She returned at the beginning of the year. She's got 1.8 million followers. And every single time she's posted something, and she's been relatively prolific for a public figure with what she's posted, each time, whatever she's put up there not only demonstrates her narcissism, but it also results in her scoring an own goal. And here is where the problem lies with Instagram for her. It provides for her a tool which she can go to immediately. You see, in other instances, she might have an immediate reaction below the line, but it's not in her name. So people would suggest you don't know for sure that it's her. When there is a PR puff piece, it's not immediate, and it comes through somebody else. It's somebody else's words. So there's a degree of a braking effect on what's happening. And again, people would say, well, it's the article, not necessarily her. In other instances, a PR person, no doubt overstretched and under-resourced, can try and bring some influence to bear on what she attends and what she does. But with Instagram, there is no filter. There is no guard. There are no guardrails. If something irks her, she can immediately punch out a video or put up a picture with some blurb beneath it. There are plenty of people watching this. For instance, it's quite clear that there are a number of commentators who don't like her, who post on X and YouTube, who clearly follow her in order to be able to receive immediate notification of what she's posted so that they can talk about it. This means that what she does there will also become exposed. And whilst there are plenty of people that follow her who like her, there are plenty of individuals that will then be able to see more or less immediately what she's doing, and then that can be analysed. And the problem is that for somebody such as her, who is a rather haphazard narcissist, who is thin-skinned with regard to threats to control, and lacks the high control threshold to just essentially turn the other cheek like a higher level narcissist would, when something happens to her, you can picture that she will be raging. The crockery gets thrown around. She rants at Harry, which is all part of the indirect assertion of control, when she sees some unfavourable comment after she's been rage scrolling, when she sees an article about Prince William or Catherine, Princess of Wales. That threatens her need for control. And now she has an immediate outlet. She has an immediate outlet where she can go running to Instagram and, within a matter of moments, put something out there. She will have a bank of photographs and videos, and her narcissism will simply say, pick one of those, put it out there. But there's no PR input. There's nobody saying, that's not a good move. Her narcissism is saying, do it now, nullify that threat to control, assert control, draw fuel, manage your facade. And as we have seen, she's made so many repeated missteps demonstrating that she isn't this Machiavellian, calculating individual, but is rather a mid-range, haphazard narcissist, that with Instagram, it means that she's basically going to expose herself more and more and more. Yes, the hardcore of her support will never ever get it. But it means that your more neutral observers will, one, see that it's generated by her. It's not guest speaker. It's not come through another conduit. It isn't a PR puff piece. She's put it out there. And because she can access it immediately, that nagging itch can be scratched straight away. With the consequence that with this one's wife, what she ends up doing is each time there is a threat to her control or her narcissism feels that she needs to garner some fuel, she just goes to Instagram. Bish bosh bash. Out goes a post, out goes a video, but what then happens? Invariably, it's ridiculous. It shows her behaving like a teenager. It shows her looking manic. It shows her triangulating the children. It shows her creating something which is shit. It shows her engaging in something where people go, why do you have to bleat on about that? And the problem is that now she has that immediate access to Instagram. Her narcissism, which doesn't care, as you know, about collateral consequences, will simply say, threat to control, you can nullify this even quicker than before, just go to Instagram and put something out. It's too easy. And absent any kind of break, any kind of guardrail, not only is this going to piss off Harry because he doesn't like her use of Instagram, but furthermore, it's just going to expose her more and more and more with regard to her ridiculousness, so that the existing body of people who can see what a clown she is just go, look at this, what an absolute train crash this is. But also, those that hitherto were unpersuaded will start to see quite readily what a loose cannon she can actually be, and thus they will start to realise that she is, as they might see it, nuts, crazy, has a screw loose. They may even start to accept that she's a narcissist. And this immediacy and access, and the way that her narcissism functions, with only a moderate level of control over her ignited fury, with a nagging itch to ensure that she tells the world about everything that she does, and now, with the near immediate means to do so, means that Insta is going to become her undoing by further exposing herself. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.